bang on trend. Are these smaller calibers on the up? Andy chooses a 20 bore for partridges. Should you?
A great little cartridge, underrated gun, I tell you.
Triple row pass by. Paul takes his chance to reduce the grazing pressure on his ground. Plus, guilty by association. In a Fieldsports Nation funded film, we investigate how the RSPCA is prosecuting a dog owner because of her Facebook friend. We have news, we have hunting YouTube, and we announce the winner of the Aimpoint Micro H2 competition. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Rain rarely stops play on a shoot day. In fact, when it's raining cats and dogs, it can bond the team of guns as they wade through mud, get soaked to the skin and shoot through adversity.
We're going to be walking to the first two guys because it's so wet.
Crow is a guest of his friend Matt, who's taken a number of days here at Badnocks Farm Shoot in Essex in the past. Because it's predominantly partridge, Andy has asked Gloucestershire if they could lend him a 20 bore. They've supplied him with a smart F3, but with two sets of barrels.
Frederick sorted me out with a Blaser Bonzi to try out. I've got it in 12 bore barrels and I've got 32-inch barrel in a 20 bore. We're shooting partridge today. I thought, well, for a change, I'll have a go with a 20. But what a lot of people don't realise, with the F3, this is a 12 bore barrel, straight on. Take that off, 20 bore barrel, straight on. And you can also use a 28 bore and a 410.
Did you know that?
What's that?
It's news to you.
What, this? No, yeah. It's not. It's not news to me, but because I've been with Blaser and I know how it works. But there's so many people I go to shoots and that, and they've got a 20 bore and a 12 bore. They've got two guns, and I said, well, why don't you just get one gun and just buy the barrels? Because the hardest bit is getting, once this fits you, you get your stock fitted, you've got to get, say you've got 3 different guns, you get 3 different stocks. This one don't fit me, that's why I've got a rubber pad on it. It's a bit short, but I'll put a popper pad on because I only got it yesterday. I got it yesterday and I'm shooting it today, so, but yeah. But no, not a lot of people knew it, and I've spoken to people when I've been doing a lot of loading, and they said the same, and they couldn't believe that that's what you can do. So it's handy, really. But the only thing I will say is safety is the main thing with changing barrels and changing cartridges, size of cartridges.
Now, to go with his shiny new gun, he's got some shiny new shells. Game Bore's Black Gold Game. It's a long time since he's shot this calibre on a game day.
The last time I really used it was my granddad when he was alive, bless him. That would have been, oh Christ, a long time ago. That's all I will say, a long time ago. And he used to kill stuff miles out, and my uncle used to use his gun, and he used to shoot stuff as far as he could with a 12. And the cartridges have really moved on. I've got some 6s and I've got some 5s there as well, 32 grams. Give them a go. I'm really looking forward to using it. I really am. I will say one thing, Game Bore, they don't just stick a cartridge in a box. They got designers that do the boxes. Everything is, it's 100% good product. There's some new stuff coming as well. Be interesting once we start getting playing on that. I can't wait. I really can't.
Andy has plenty to look forward to while dodging showers. There are 15 drives available to shoot. Manager Bradley Faulkner wants to try and give us the best day possible.
What sort of cover crops you got?
Maize and wild bird cover.
Yeah.
We've got 15 drives in total.
Have you?
A couple of ponds.
Yeah,
and, yeah, it's mainly partridges. We do
brilliant.
put quite a few English down.
Yeah.
But we haven't managed to hold them so well this year.
On their toes, aren't they?
Yeah. But it will be mainly partridges.
Oh, good. No, I like shooting partridges. I've really taken to the partridge the last few years.
The beaters, picker-uppers, everyone all join
Everyone
in
knows
together.
everyone, do they?
Yeah, we all stop and have drinks, everything together.
Oh, that's the way.
So,
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's just a fun day out for everyone.
Oh, good. Just keep Matt away from me.
On with the day, and we have to rely on the shot cam as David takes cover beside the gator.
You've got a shot cam on front. How's that, Crow? Don't say wet.
Yeah, all right. Little old thing takes a bit of getting used to. But I had about 3-4 shots at the beginning, never touched the thing. I thought, Jesus, I'll be running back to get the F-16 in a minute. But no, I did all right. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 1 or 2 laying about out the back there. I just had a nice hen bird at the end. Shot a couple long ones out there, so no, I got there in the end. It's just, it's not quite right to what my other gun is, but like anything, you get used to it in the end. I'll get there in the end.
A few minutes after the drive ends, the shower's clear and we are left with a dry, bright day.
Well, Mr. Crow, should we start again, because that first drive was so wet I hardly got the camera out.
Unbelievable. I think in all the years you've been filming me, David, I think that is the wettest drive I've ever done. It was just torrential. You were gone at high speed. I've got a lightweight pike jacket and leggings, and I tell you what, I stuck them in the motor this morning, and I'm glad I did, because everyone else is moaning they're wet, and it's only lightweight. Screw it up, put it in your pocket, but it done the job down there. It's great. They're only a little old cartridge, but it's lovely. Kills them, poof, stone dead. The youngsters start with it, but a lot of people as they get older, and they tend to move off of a 12 bore and go for a light 20 bore. Because it is quite light. It swings really well. I think that's half the trouble.
Crow is shooting well, but is not enjoying his day as much as he'd like. The 20 bore, as beautiful as it is, doesn't fit, so while he grabs his pillars, he grabs his F-16 too.
One thing I've always said, and always preach, always make sure your gun fits you. It's a bit short, and I'm looking up the side of the rib, so it starts getting in your head then if it don't fit you. I know this little old thing does fit me, so I'll just play about with the other one, get it fitted, and then we'll be away then. But as
on the pigeons, do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing wrong with him at all. Nothing wrong with him at all. There's a few in here.
Over the past few years, Brad and the family have put down thousands of English partridge. It's thanks to shoots like this that the English partridge is surviving at all, let alone all the other garden birds that depend on shoots. At this point in the season, no English partridge are pushing over guns. The last drive again has the sun low. It's interesting to note that none of the other guns are wearing glasses. They probably have a pair in the car to use driving home, but not to shoot with. It's common on a playground, but not on a game day.
It does make a lot of difference. The gun next to me on the last drive, I was shooting birds and they was dropping round him and he hadn't even seen them. It does make a hell of a difference. But yeah.
Actually, how many guns, if you look down the line, how many guns are wearing glasses?
Me.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, me. Got one of the guns up there. Oh, she's taking a hand down now. Annie, she's got a hand up there trying to see what's coming. And I can look straight at the sun. No problem at all. I'm straight at an advantage. There's some big flushes coming, so I'm having a pair, and bang bang, just ejecting, sticking one, because I'm shooting quarter. I'm just sticking a cartridge in the top barrel. Sticking one cartridge in the top barrel. Just for quickness, really.
So you're looking at like a 3 combo as opposed to a sort of like a 4 or 6 or an 8?
Yeah, I'll go bang bang and then just stick another one in. And just stick one cartridge in the top quick. It gives you a chance to get 3 shots off into a cubby instead of just 2.
It's been a super day, so it's thanks to Matt for the invitation and Brad and his family for delivering the goods. Maybe next time we see Andy, he'll be on the pigeons with a newly fitted 20-bore. Thank you, Andy, and I wish I could shoot my shotgun as well as he shoots one that doesn't fit. Now for another misfit. It's David on the Fieldsports channel, News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Veganism now has protection in the UK. An employment tribunal in Norwich rules that ethical veganism is a philosophical belief and is therefore protected by law. Jordi Kazamadziana says he was sacked by the League Against Cruel Sports after raising concerns its pension fund was invested in companies involved in animal testing. He claims he was unfairly disciplined for making the disclosure. A judge ruled that ethical veganism satisfies the tests required for it to be a philosophical belief and is therefore protected under the Equality Act 2010. Has veganuary gone too far? That's the debate that's been raging on ITV's This Morning sofa. Shooter Rachel Carey defended the meat industry against militant vegan and former gang member Joey Armstrong. His aggressive style and interrupting host Ruth Langsford embarrassed even vegan viewers. However, there's still some humour in the debate. Vegans and shooters alike have been celebrating veganuary by posting their trophy vegetables. Most of these photos came for the website Sad and Useless. This last one is of Jaff Jefferson from South Somerset Ferreters. Antis continue to target children. In Lancashire, a 12-year-old girl narrowly escaped injury during the Holcombe hunt after a sab with a megaphone screamed "Shame on you" in her face, causing her pony to rear and the girl to fall. The video has been passed to the police. And the Countryside Alliance posts photos of a saboteur following and videoing children who were walking a pack of beagles. Sabs in Weymouth have been illustrating their ignorance and general disregard for the countryside. The Hunting for Truth Facebook page posts this video shot in Dorset, showing members of the Weymouth Animal Rights driving their Land Rover over crops. Cancelling the Liverpool shooting show costs the city more than £5 million. A Freedom of Information request submitted by the Shooting Times reveals the figure in an email between the Exhibition Centre Liverpool boss and the Liverpool Mayor, Joe Anderson, who ordered the cancellation. The British shooting show in the north of England has moved to Manchester and will be held on the 26th to the 27th of September 2020. Meanwhile, the British shooting show at the NEC is just around the corner, on the 14th to the 16th of February. Chris Packham says that punk music is the inspiration behind his campaigning. In a new BBC 4 documentary, BBC presenter Packham aligns himself with climate action group Extinction Rebellion and the defiance and energy of the music movement. Staying with Packham, and he hopes to kick golfers into the long grass. He wants 2 golf courses in Brighton rewilded back to nature, whatever that means. Hollingbury and Waterhall golf courses have been around for over 100 years. Their leases expire in March, and despite a golfers' petition for the courses to stay open, they face stiff opposition from Extinction Rebellion, backed by Packham. While Justice is working hard to raise money to close down shooting sports. In its New Year manifesto, it announced launching a fighting fund appeal to help it ban driven grouse shooting, general licences, badger culls and the release of pheasants and partridges. Commonwealth shooting sports may go to India in 2022. The ISSF says a decision on shooting sports in the Commonwealth Games is imminent. It's been negotiating with the Commonwealth Games Federation to find a way to include shooting sports, which host city Birmingham dropped. ISSF now says that India will commit to hosting the shooting for Birmingham, including expanding the competition programme with 4 mixed team events. The National Small Ball Rifle Association wants its members to pay an individual fee. It's identified more than 50,000 club members who do not directly pay into the NSRA and feel it's time they did. It proposes that every member of an affiliated club pays around £35 per annum for third-party insurance and equipment cover to £1,000. Thanks to Andy McGarty for sending in the story. Police in Suffolk are clamping down on criminal gangs breeding deer dogs. The county's rural crime team warn of an increase in dogs bred specifically to hunt deer, especially from people coming to Suffolk from Yorkshire and Humberside. It made the statement after seizing phones from arrested hare coursers. Suffolk police are urging members of the public to report suspicious activity and wildlife crime by calling 101. Gene therapy could wipe out grey squirrels in the UK. Scientists from the Roslin Institute in Edinburgh want to implant a gene into thousands of male grey squirrels to ensure any female offspring are infertile. The trait would slowly spread, making squirrels unable to breed and wiping out the population. The scientists, who also cloned Dolly the sheep, say it's a humane technique that eliminates the need for trapping and shooting the vermin. Thanks to Steve Kearney for the story. Blame for the Australian bushfires is being landed on the Antis. The finger is pointing at rewilding and tree planting activists for campaigning against selective burn-offs. Long carried out by Australian farmers, these would have created fire breaks that could have slowed the spread of the bushfires, which echoes what grouse keepers in the UK are saying following wildfires caused by poor management of Scottish, Welsh and Yorkshire uplands in 2019. The Australian hunting community is pulling together to launch a fundraising raffle for the bushfire appeal. There's a link in the description below. Now ecologists are making renewed calls for a cull of feral cats and foxes to save species pushed to the brink of extinction by the fires. This local expressed his feelings about the Antis, thanks to Colin Pullin for sending in the video.
I'm here at King Creek. F***ing look at this. These f***ing greenies and the government and these f***ing wombats who don't want to burn off. You want your f***ing heads kicking in. Look at this. We're going to lose all f***ing houses and properties because of you useless pieces of f***ing garbage will not burn off when it's supposed to through the winter time like we used to do years ago out farms up in the mountains, burn all the undergrowth off so everything was safe. But you want to have a really good look at this f***ing wombats. Look at the state you've caused here. You are the biggest bunch of useless loser pieces of garbage God ever had the misfortune to blow everything to.
More fears for endangered species, this time in Mallorca. For the first time, the IUCN has red-listed rabbits in Mallorca as an endangered species. Despite a major restocking programme over the last 4 years, diseases such as myxomatosis and the viral hemorrhagic disease, plus feral cats, have killed off 95% of the rabbit population. PETA wants a snake competition canned. The animal rights group is calling for the Miami Super Bowl host committee to cancel the 2020 Python Bowl. In the event, Floridians head out to capture pythons, an invasive species in the Everglades. The best snake catcher wins $2,000 or a new ATV. The state's previous method of catching the snakes included traps and poisoned prey. Now the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission pays hunters for caught snakes. So do you have the answer to the planet's environmental problems? Well, Prince William has launched what organisers call the most prestigious environment prize in history. The Earthshot prize will go to 5 people every year over the next decade and aims to provide at least 50 answers to some of the greatest problems facing the planet before 2030. An angler is inspiring women to take up spearfishing. Amanda Johnson from Washington State, USA has launched a series of women's-only pike spearing events. She hopes the workshops will empower women to overcome the barriers that prevent them from learning to hunt. Here's an unlikely jogging partner. A jogger has captured the moment he stumbled across a rare lynx while running in Germany's Palatinate forest. Forget meals on wheels in the States, there's snacks on the tracks. That's why deer hunters in Minnesota are heading to the rails to set up blinds after a train car carrying corn sprung a leak. And finally, US rock star Meatloaf has gone vegan for Veganuary and is fronting Frankie and Benny's new Veganuary menu. Despite pressure from their marketing directors to change his name, the 72-year-old says he'll do anything, but he won't do that. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. And if you'd like to see more news, you can pop over to our website. There's a link in the description below. Now, the Aimpoint H2 competition, which we brought to you on Christmas Day. I have the entries here. There's 900 of you, so I'm going to open up that file. There you are, lots and lots of you. And as usual, I'm going to press the choose button, and the lucky winner is Bring In says Micro H2 will do, which is the correct answer. Bring In, we will be in touch with you and we'll be sending you that Micro H2. And what is that Micro H2? Well, here's a bit about the prize because we said we would. Priced at £700, the Aimpoint Micro H2 is probably the toughest red dot sight on the market. Here's Tim Pilbeam using one on moose. It has a 2 MOA dot with 12 settings for low light and daylight brightness and up to 5 years of continuous operation from one battery. Thank you everyone for entering, and there'll be loads more competitions in Fieldsports Britain this year, and there'll be some exclusive competitions for our YouTube members, our Patreon supporters, our shareholders, the Fieldsports Nation. And if you want to find out how to join them, pop down and have a look in the description below. And they are the ones who fund the next film you're going to see, this kind of film. This one is about how the RSPCA has wrenched a dog away from its owner and now told her that they want her permission to kill it.
RSPCA is the leading enforcement agency fighting animal abuse in the UK. But could the organisation be picking on innocent people for the sake of publicity?
There's a very strong, we know what we're doing and we always get it right ethos, or so it appears.
A pet owner hit with unlikely dogfighting allegations says some of the animals the charity supposedly saves end up worse off.
From the moment they raided me, they wanted my dogs dead.
This is Jack. He died under the charity's supervision. Now it has given her a heartbreaking ultimatum: euthanize her younger dog Homer or put him under the questionable care of the same kennel keepers.
I'm doomed if I do and I'm doomed if I don't.
She's put in an impossible situation, as she has been throughout this whole case.
Pictures like this and sad music are often splashed across TV and computer screens by the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. The charity hopes they will encourage people to donate money, a ploy that's worked for decades. But these photos of Jack were taken after he'd been in RSPCA's so-called care for years.
When your animal is in RSPCA care, you don't expect them to come out with puncture wounds on them, emaciated, hair loss. You don't expect your dog, your animal, to look totally different when you go up and see them.
Jack and his son Homer were taken from Julie Wright by RSPCA charity workers, backed by police, in February 2014.
Good boy. Good boy. He's got water in a bowl there. Kennel at the rear, which is quite deep straw bedded.
Without a hint of irony, the RSPCA worker filming the raid says Jack sitting quietly in his kennel was threatening.
That's an older bull breed dog. He's reluctant to come out, showing signs of aggression.
Julie was found guilty of the main charge of owning pit bulls, a banned breed, even though they were later identified as Staffordshire Bull Terriers.
To suggest that this lady would put one of those dogs into a ring with another dog with a view of savaging each other is preposterous. She'd have apoplexy if she squashed a spider.
The British media did a great job of labelling distraught Julie as the cruel kingpin of some imaginary dogfighting network. She no longer wants to be splashed across the media, which is why we mosaic her face.
I was raided. They didn't find quite what they was looking for. They didn't have I didn't own the stuff that they was hoping to find. So they picked on my two pets, Jack and Homer.
The dogs were basically sentenced to life imprisonment in kennels near Chelmsford, where Jack became sick.
I had him from a 6-week-old puppy until he was 8.5 years old. He's had a few allergies, that's it, in the whole 8 years.
Martina Stewart, a vet since 1973, was asked by Julie to examine her dogs in late 2016, nearly 2 years after the raid.
Jack was allowed to get into a state where it was effectively obvious from me as a general practitioner and veterinary surgeon, when first examining Jack, to say there is something fundamentally wrong with this dog that needs investigation. We'd arranged for Jack to go to Bristol on the 11th of January, and we were told that he wasn't fit to travel. He travelled from wherever it was, Chelmsford. This was him arriving at Southridge. Yeah, so this is Jack and that's Homer. Neither dog was distressed in any way, shape or form until the door was opened.
It'll be more of a delay putting his coat on than it will just taking him straight in.
Delays and lack of communication by RSPCA troubled Martina, especially after the charity agreed to cooperate more and jointly arrange independent assessments. Instead, it decided on its own to give Jack an MRI scan by a specialist who said the tumour Jack had was inoperable. Martina found a surgeon at Bristol University who said he could remove tumours, so that's where they were going.
Yeah, he's also lost more weight on his back end, but I mean, he's moving freely.
The dog was deemed to be unfit to travel the further 2 hours to Bristol, and yet he's aware of enough of what's going on around him to be able to back out of that alleyway purely by, I'd like to think, listening to my voice.
Oi, it's all right. Come on, there's a good boy. Come on back. Come on back. Yeah. Oh well. Come on. Come on. Back you go. Come on. Come on. He says, I know this is food in here.
I feel that there is reluctance and difficulties put in the way of whatever we tried to do that was delayed and rejected and not allowed to happen.
RSPCA scrapped 2 trips to Bristol and Jack died before he could get to the operating table. Homer is now effectively on death row. RSPCA says he should be killed for no apparent reason or put under the care of the kennel keepers who failed to save Jack.
What reasonable owner would actually accept that as an option? I can totally understand Julie Wright's reluctance to do that.
I believe what caused my dog's tumour was the trauma of being seized. A Homer, my pup, he's 6 years old now. At 6 months old, the RSPCA classed him as a bad fighting dog because that's no other impression they give in the court. They didn't say he was a little puppy. They didn't say, he's a good, lovely little dog. They never said nothing like that. They said banned breed, pit bull terrier, fighting dog. That put, and they know it, the RSPCA know what they're doing, that will automatically, the court will then put a destruction order on it.
All this and not a single crime committed by Julie, Jack or Homer. Julie appears to be a victim of what could be called means profiling by RSPCA. In a twisted push for propaganda and profits, the charity seems to be trawling social media, looking for pet owners to pounce on.
There's been no suggestion of any mistreatment of these dogs by Mrs. Wright. It appears that prior to the dawn raid that was conducted on her premises, there had been significant monitoring of her Facebook activity, and over a period of what appears to be several months.
2 of Julie's Facebook friends were allegedly linked to dogfighting, and she was guilty by association. She was a perfect target, a single woman of simple means with no support network. Easy for the wealthy charity to walk over in court, allowing it to chalk up another win in the name of saving animals.
Ben, you wouldn't believe the amount of times I've cried over my dog. You'd never believe it. And I'm not joking either. You know, there was times I went in there on visits and I hardly recognised him. He'd lost his spirit, he'd lost everything, he lost his oomph of life. You know, he wasn't Jack no more.
Video of the raid on Julie's house shows Jack is perhaps nervous about strange people in his territory, but still friendly, and there's not a mark on him.
He's an older male, nearly all black. He's got some white on his toe there and white on the front toe.
He's a well-groomed animal in peak physical fitness and the pride of his owner, a stark contrast to the wreck he was after years of RSPCA care. Dog owners on social media may want to think twice about who they friend, while RSPCA donors ought to know the charity spends a significant amount of their money prosecuting innocent people and destroying their lives.
That's it. Good fella. Oh, he's gone back in there. Okay. I'm switching off the recorder.
Thank you, journalist Ben O'Rourke, for making that film for us. Next up, we're stalking with Paul Childerley, Mr. Efficiency, on his home ground in Gloucestershire. Last time we were out with Paul, he was looking to thin out the overly healthy roe deer population enjoying this part of Gloucestershire. But we were sidetracked by a muntjac in the undergrowth that could not resist the charms of Paul's secret squeak. So now it's catch up. There are 3 of the UK's 6 deer species on Paul's permission. Roe are the most abundant and are top of the list today.
Right.
Okay, another day, another dollar.
Yes. Right, so we're out this afternoon. We're on roe deer, possibly a fallow deer. We'll definitely want to try and get a roe deer this afternoon. Just that it's been so windy and wet this morning. It wouldn't look. They tucked in early, so we'll have a look round. And we're a little bit early, so they'll probably lay down still. So we'll sneak in, have a little scan with the binoculars, and see what we can do. We'll head down the track here, out onto the back. I've got this rifle this afternoon. It's a bit lighter, a bit easier to carry. So we'll travel a few miles to get to where we get to. So
You right. Say that.
Huh?
What do you mean? You've got a few miles.
All right, not 100 metres then. What do you mean?
Proper woodland stalking then.
Well, no, we've got to get to where we want to get to. This first bit's all been forestry felled, so there's no point waiting here. So we've got to get through to the next bit. So get through to the next bit, then we'll stalk. Come on.
Paul already has a good idea what is likely to be about and where to find them.
Yep, we're in David.
This unlikely but familiar looking trio have him on his sticks for some reaction shooting.
Fast and furious, like every time in it, you push and push and push, and got 3 animals on the deck, perfect.
They're messing about, Childerley.
Well, no.
That's management, isn't it?
Yeah, it is management. I mean, it's basically, we already identified what they were. It's bang, bang, bang. Both all clean shots, safe shots, clean shots, know what they were, job done. And that's when being used to your kit, knowing your zero and all that sort of thing, you just go straight into the zone, bang, bang, bang. So yeah, great result. Now we've got to do the hard bit. Right, let's go.
It takes experience to know whether to pull the trigger and to pull the trigger with speed and accuracy. It's a roe doe plus female kid and another young barren doe.
We normally get a doe with a couple of fawns, maybe a buck and a doe. Not very often you get 3 females together, and you know, rapid shooting like that, you'd never be able to tell that quickly. So it's really helpful that we've obviously seen them before, and we already identified them, and yeah, it's great. 3 does, 3 shots. Great result, great for finish for the day. Easiest, quickest way to identify in the winter when the bucks haven't got their antlers. If you look side on, you'll see the does have this anal tuft at the back. Bucks will have a pizzle, a bit of hair coming down on the belly here. You'll see the buck we saw earlier on this morning, that had a pizzle. That was only a young buck. That's the quickest and easiest way to identify them. And obviously if they're face on, you can't see the head, then you have to wait for them to turn, and yeah. But yeah, good animals, good condition.
Paul takes no time cleaning them using what's to hand. It's a good result with clean shooting and an easy recovery. Just what a busy deer manager likes. Thank you, Paul, well done. Now from Gloucestershire to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Andrew Eucles in Australia has been quiet for months. Now he's launching his tour guide business. He's back. Yup, you can book a holiday to do this. Catch a wild donkey barehanded. In the UK, John Bailey takes his Remy 700 PCR on game bird protection duties in this film. He has a PAR 007 and PBIRL mounted on a GPO 60-24x50 scope. Mark Vermin and Fox Control Brannan, that's a lot of middle names, has a sporting day out spotting deer, having a mooch with a catapult and then sitting out for a fox at night on a Sheffield golf course. He gets one, the first of 2020. Wald and Wild TV in Germany is on part 3 of their hunting trip in the Bavarian Alps. The quest is still chamois, but this time the weather is horrific. See how they get on. More bad weather in the USA. The Hunting Public Channel is after hogs and deer on public land in the Mississippi Basin. They have the advantage of flooding, pushing the animals towards them. GoPro Hunter brings out a hunting shots compilation from Turkey, including boar and deer. They really have some big animals there. Viewer Trent Kinghorn sends me this, a fishing video rather than hunting. Trent is from New Zealand and has been living in the UK for the past 20 years. On this trip he takes his UK fly fishing setup back to New Zealand on holiday and catches tuna on it. And finally it's worth revisiting Joe Rogan and Steve Rinella talking about hunting regulations in the USA, which has interesting parallels to the situation in Scotland, where huge numbers of deer are shot by the government, which is also complaining about hunting tourism. Do the maths, Nicola. That's it for this week. I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the I symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please pop over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv. You can click to like us there on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. And of course, you can pop your email address into our register page and we'll contact you about this show by email every week. The show, Fieldsports Britain, is at 7 PM UK time every week. Now, this is where I normally say good hunting, good shooting, good fishing and goodbye. And of course, I want to say that, but I also want to go out on this fabulous bloke from the 4-Borough Hunt meet on New Year's Day in Cornwall. Thanks to Anthony Purchase for posting it on Facebook.